Now you got me on. Did y'all hear me? I said I wish I'd have had a school class this obedient and quiet. Welcome to the Ag Committee. I'm going to ask the Secretary to call the roll.
Senator Thompson?
Present.
Present. Senator Fannin? Here. Present. Senator Alwell?
We got to approve the minute.
Absent. Senator Long? Here. Present. Senator Peacock? Here. Present. Senator Reiser? Absent. Senator Smith? Present. Present. 5 members present. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. We have only one bill today. Representative Shake Snyder's hemp bill, chairman of the committee, but we're going to take a few minutes to recognize a couple of individuals today. The 2019 Louisiana FFA update, and if they would come forward, we'll have an opportunity to find out from Brooks Hampton. That's good. I was going to say that. State president from Natchitoches Central High School. And then Tara Toll, the state vice president from Tioga. And both are LSU College of Ag students. So you only get an hour, but if you could do it in 5 minutes, we'd be happy. Thank you. You may start. Introduce yourself and speak to the group.
Okay. Yes, sir. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. Like he said, I am Brooklyn Hampton. I am a crop science major at LSU, and I'm serving as this year's State of Louisiana FFA president.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Toll. I'm from Tioga, Louisiana, and I'm also at LSU in the College of Ag, and I'm a food and nutritional sciences pre-med major.
To start off with talking about agricultural education for the state of Louisiana as well as Louisiana FFA Association, we wanted to give you a little bit of the size and scope of our state. So ag education is a 3-circle model, which includes classroom instruction and SAE, which is a supervised agricultural experience. So for example, mine is crop production with a small garden back home. So it's what you learn in the classroom implemented in your own life outside of the classroom. And then also the last part of that 3-circle model is the FFA organization, which focuses on leadership and being able to prepare students for real life career events and being able to get them involved in that kind of aspect. In our state, we have over 20,000 students in ag education in grades 7 through 12. We have 199 programs located in 51 parishes, which are not only rural, suburban, but also urban areas. And we're also working to expand our ag education programs to areas and parishes that are not that do not have ag education programs. We also work as a state with the Jumpstart programs, and we also, as a FFA organization, have had increased membership for the past 2 years, 15%. We have reached over 11,000 members this year, which has been the highest we've gotten since the late 1980s. And then we work with the Jumpstart programs with 2 different IBCs, the Agritech credential, which certifies our students in order to get them ready for post-secondary and industry work, and as well as the Forestry credential, which is getting them ready for and acknowledging the forestry industry, our state's largest agriculture industry. And so since the conception of the Agritech credential in 2016, we have had 365 students certified and 193 teachers. And then for the forestry, it was implemented this year, and we've had 26 teachers certified and 15 students.
I'd like to ask one question. What is your favorite small farm or activity that you're most interested in?
So one of the things I actually enjoy the most is I convinced my parents to get me some cows. It was not something they wanted to do, but I was able to get cows, and we feed them every day. We have names for them. They come up to us, and they're more pets now. And so honestly, just being able to do that with my family, especially now that I'm getting older, having that one-on-one time with my parents is really important to me.
That's great. I had that opportunity coming up also as a young man, and that is a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. Yes. And of course, Jim Fannon's still doing it. He's a young man, but Senator Fannin has got some beautiful cows. So any of you want to buy a bull or heifer, I've kind of front for him, but he'd be interested. Senator Fannin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just like to congratulate each of you, along with all the other FFA members across this state, and what you provide in leadership. Just to let you know what your opportunities are. I was a former agriculture teacher and an FFA advisor, so you never know when you might be transitioning from one phase to another, so that you can continue to work for the agriculture industry and certainly students in the leadership role across this state. And to the young lady that talked her parents into the cattle, just let you know that this body, and as of yesterday, we passed a bill that allows sales tax exemption on your feed, seed, and fertilizer for our student farmers. So I expect that to pass, and while that's not the answer to everything, that would be roughly a 10% reduction in the cost of your feed, seed, and fertilizer, which we hope would be an encouragement for your parents not to decide to get rid of the cattle, or an encouragement for others to get some, whether it be cattle or any phase of the livestock or the 4-H program. So congratulations. Thank you for coming today, and certainly for your leadership that you show across the state.
Thank you, Senator. Next, we'll have Sarah Toe, the Vice President.
Good morning. We just wanted, in conjunction with showing the extreme increase the past 2 years of our membership, we also wanted to inform you that we pride ourselves, both in Louisiana and as an organization throughout the country, of being an inclusive and diversified organization. So we're happy that this year we have 25% of our membership comes from minority groups, and we're seeing that number constantly increase. And I think it's pretty safe to say that Louisiana is one of, if not the most diversified associations throughout the country when it comes to FFA membership. And as we're speaking, comparing us nationally, we recently, last October, had our national FFA convention, and it was hands down the best convention for Louisiana in Louisiana's history. We had 2 national competition champions, Elton in conduct of chapter and Natchitoches Central in agronomy. We had Ryan Boudreau from Franklin be a national proficiency finalist in turfgrass management, meaning that he was top 4 out of hundreds and hundreds of SAE projects throughout the country. We had 13 American degree recipients, which the American degree, only less than 1% of FFA members attain this honor. It's the highest degree that you can receive in the FFA. And Ponchatoula FFA chapter was a national chapter finalist, meaning that their chapter was looked at as one of the best. FFA, agriculture, community service, you name it. They had one of the best programs in the country. Probably the greatest news is that Louisiana has not had representation on the national FFA officer team in over 31 years. And we have never had a female national officer until this year. Lainey LeBlanc from Walker was elected as the national FFA secretary. So thank you for listening to us. We've had this chance this year to go and advocate for ag education in Louisiana and American agriculture and youth, and we thank you for hearing us today. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank both of you, but I'd like to know what your main interest is.
Yes, sir. My grandfather was a Dorper sheep farmer and an FFA advisor. My mom is a veterinarian, and so whenever my grandfather started, his health was deteriorating, it kind of got put on me. So I took over the family farm, Circle C Farms, and we work with local farmers in our area that kind of help us out. Since I'm now in Baton Rouge, not at home to take care of the sheep and the dogs and the horses, but I grew up in agriculture, and I found a passion for it. It brought me to where I am right now. It made me the person I am, and I hope to, keep advocating even without this blue jacket on, and do everything I can to keep young kids involved.
Jim Fannin still has his. I wore it one day and it fit like a raincoat. It went down to my leg. Thank you all, and I'd be remiss if I did not compliment the Ag Center on the hard work and dedication. We would not have the strength that we have in FFA and 4-H if we did not have a good leadership group at LSU and Southern and around this state. So I want to compliment them, and also Louisiana Farm Bureau that gives us so much support in ag. So, and it's many, many others. I could talk about the forestry and go on and on and on, but I want to highlight those two for their hard work and dedication. Thank you for what you do. We're proud of you. Okay, Representative Shake Snyder, Chairman, if you would take your seat, and Mike Strain will get into this legislation. I don't remember ever making a statement before Bill came up, but I thought it might be. It's only 14 pages. I'll try to read it quickly. It's really not that long. But I wanted to clarify some things because we've been on a lot of issues discussing the hemp legislation. And not only just this year, the Ag Center has been on my back for years about what we need to look at in Louisiana. So I thought I might make this, and it might make it a little bit easier moving into the amendments that Senator Shake Snyder and I have agreed to make this bill what I think it needs to be. And I'll start by saying I have to be honest, as many of you know now, that I have mixed feelings, and I've had it in the past, about this legislation. I've always been a strong supporter of Louisiana farmers. Many of you have reached out to me over the past few months regarding the bill. I know that since the passage of the federal farm bill, that many states are getting their state plans approved and opening the doors for farmers to grow industrial hemp. I am all for opportunities for our farmers, especially in these hard financial times due to the tariffs and low crop prices. I know our farmers are struggling, and they believe this new commodity could help. My biggest hesitation has been supporting a bill with CBD in it. I'm skeptical because the bill removes the Schedule I drugs from the Controlled Substance Act. I take my responsibility as a legislator seriously, and I don't make a big change like that until I thoroughly research it. And I can say this is just some of the research that I've been able to do. I personally haven't seen enough studies on CBD, even with this amount, to support opening it up to all as it relates to CBD. I've always worried about drugs in Schedule I in general. They are there for a reason, to protect our citizens and our children. Members, we have a large set of amendments. I'm going to ask Curry, others to pass those out so you can be looking at them if you do not have them. However, after researching it and talking with Representative Clay Shake Snyder, the chairman of the committee in the House, who is very, very knowledgeable on the subject and has a heart for the farmers of this state and businesses and economic development growth, I came to the conclusion that I can support the bill as long as, and I'm going to give you some conditions that he and I have been visiting on and with others for a couple of weeks. CBD is not being processed and possessed or sold for inhalation or in alcohol or food products or beverages until FDA approves it as a food additive. We don't want to support our children or any of our citizens ingesting CBD food until the FDA approves it. And that's one of the amendments, and we agreed to that. And I believe the House supported that earlier. From what I read, the FDA is currently studying the issue. Once they have done that, these prohibitions will no longer be in place. Some of these products are coming in from foreign countries with absolute no oversight. You don't even really know what you're getting or if even it contains CBD at all. There's no regulation of this product. So we think we have that gap fixed. I like the bill's requirements that the Louisiana Department of Health to put in place strict labeling requirements. These products should not make false medical claims. We have to watch out for that. We think we have that fixed. Any product sold or imported for sale must be registered with LDH. This means the product can be tracked. We want to make sure we know what's out there and what works and doesn't work. Anyone who sells a product at retail must get a permit from ATC. They asked to do that. We thought it was a great idea. This amendment request came from them, I believe, to clarify their authority and grant them the authority to establish a fee for the permit. I have no issue with this because I think we should know where the CBD is being sold. Commissioner Strain has all the authority that he needs to regulate the growing and production of the industrial hemp. I trust Mike Strain. I don't know anybody that takes more time, more knowledgeable, more able than Mike Strain. He will do right by the state and our farmers. There will be no shenanigans with marijuana being grown and hemp being used as a front for illegal activity or activities. He is our state's strongest asset in agriculture, and I know he'll get the job done for us. The House and Senate Ag Committee will oversee Ag Department rules and the state plan. That'll be House and Senate. The current bill authorizes a designated responsible party to take the place of a licensed applicant for criminal background checks and prohibits them from being a felon for 10 years or convicted of a drug misdemeanor for 2 years. It is my understanding that the processors and contract carriers were concerned about a previous version that dealt with anyone owning a percentage of 5% or more complying with the law when they potentially have hundreds of shareholders. I get that, but I don't think that the same should apply to growers. If you are the applicant grower or hemp seed grower, I do not believe that you should have been convicted of a drug felon within 10 years of licensure. I don't find this to be unreasonable if we allow everyone to designate a straw man. If you need the definition, you can find what that actually means. Then you could have people convicted on felony distribution of narcotics or growing marijuana or any drug growing a plant that looks extremely similar and kin to marijuana. Wait out the time. So the bill does not prohibit the possession, the processing, or sale of CBD oil that is properly registered and labeled for both topical and internal use. It does not prohibit the sale of CBD oil as long as the place of business is properly registered with ACT, does not sell the oil as a food or beverage until the FDA approves it, and doesn't sell it in alcohol or vaporing. This would authorize the CBD oil itself, just not in food or drinks for human consumption that is considered food by FDA. Now, I'm going to leave the other 13 pages out. I think you get the point, or some of you fell asleep. But we've got a lot of questions, and committee members, if you bear with me, what I'm going to suggest that we let Curry go over each one. I hit them, but she can explain as we go along. If you have any, I know you're going to have plenty of questions, just hit your light. You can stop her at any point. And then after we get it, what I consider, if you agree to those amendments, we'll let Representative Shake Snyder, Chairman, go over the bill, and also Mike Strain. And maybe that will give us a shorter way to the end. So, Curry.
Okay. The first page, members, is all technical amendments except for 11, which just changes the definition of designated responsible party to conform to the new language in the bill. 12 through 15 are technical. 16 adds a definition of industrial hemp producer. This is just because all the other department licenses have been defined except that producer. 17 adds storage to the definition of processor. 18 modifies the definition of transport to also include the movement of the hemp from the premises of a licensee to the premises of a permittee. 19 through 21 are technical. 22 removes the requirement that the rules and regs adopted by the commissioner be approved by the House and Senate Ag committees. 23 and 24 requires the commissioner to submit the state plan for approval by the House and Senate Ag committees no later than October 15th, 2019. 25 through 29 are technical. 30 through 32 separate and provide for the application requirements for a processor and contract carrier from a grower and industrial hemp seed producer. It authorizes a designated responsible party to submit to a criminal background check in place of a processor or contract carrier. 33 through 35 are technical. 36 provides for the application requirements for a grower or industrial hemp producer and requires criminal background checks for the applicants themselves. The bill maintains the prohibition of applicants convicted of a felony with 10 years or drug-related misdemeanor within 2 years. 37 requires a contract carrier to maintain records. The statute already had contemplated this requirement but did not include them in Section A. 38 authorizes the Commissioner of Ag to randomly inspect the industrial hemp crop or product if the department has reason to believe a violation has occurred. 39 clarifies the Commissioner of Ag's authority to destroy the industrial hemp crop or product if the product contains a THC concentration that exceeds 0.3%. The bill already contemplated this in the criminal penalties section, but it needed to be added under his authority. 40 is technical. 41 removes 2 pages of the bill in order to create a new part. This was necessary to clearly delineate and separate the lines of authority of the Commissioner of Ag over the hemp crop itself and Department of Health and ATC authority over the CBD products. The House floor amendment did not separate their authority, and we felt that this needed to be changed. 42 to 44 is technical. 45 is the large amendment. It creates the new part titled Industrial Hemp-Derived Cannabidiol Products and provides for the definitions. The prohibitions, as Senator Thompson explained earlier, remain the same except the changes that he previously discussed about the possession and the beverages. It also removes the provision prohibiting food retail establishments or businesses selling alcoholic beverages from adding CBD because it was repetitive and already covered in the section above. It also requires a seller of CBD products to obtain a permit from ATC, as he discussed. It authorizes a permit fee of $175 per year and provides for criminal penalties for violations and number 46 provides an effective date upon signature of the governor, and that's all of the amendments.
Okay. Thank you. And what we'll do, what I'd like to do after we discuss that, let the chairman make a few comments, let Commissioner Strain, and then we'll incorporate what amendments we can in the bill, and then we should be on the right path. Question, Senator Peacock?
Good for right now.
Pardon?
I did have a question, but I found it in the amendments. I'm good for right now.
Senator Fannin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just maybe I should open my comments and say to you that I've been a farmer all my life. I was raised by parents that were farmers. I still farm. I don't know that in my time in the legislature or in my 70 years as being a farmer that I've ever seen a time that farmers have had to come to the legislature for permission to grow a crop. So this one is certainly different, ladies and gentlemen, from what we normally think as commodities and farm crops in this state. I think the chairman has done a good job in trying to go through and fix as best he could. I would have to tell you that I'm still concerned about this product, and that in my time in the farming, I've seen fads come and go. And the latest one was the ostrich business, which a few people made a lot of money and other people went broke and other people got hurt over the process. It troubles me about this one, Commissioner Strain, that we don't have a lot of research in this state. Normally I can go on most any crop that we have, and you can find where the Ag Center's done research about varieties, about fertilizer, about soil types, about almost anything that you want to know about any crop in this state. We don't have it on this crop. I think that puts everybody that would want to be a farmer of this type in jeopardy, because they have no information other than what you pick up online, and we all know that you can get whatever you want according to who's saying it and who's selling it. As to what information that you would get. So it troubles me that we taken this step first, that we should take the step of research first and not this step. So
yes, sir.
I'm not going any further with that at this time, but it does trouble me.
I understand.
That we have it. I guess when I'm looking at the amendments now, and I heard, Mr. Chairman, you comment about food. Help me understand what is food? I'm looking here, it's all got to be registered, and it looks like a pretty cumbersome process of getting all this stuff regulated. If I know anything about how government works, it's going to be pretty cumbersome to even get a permit to do this stuff. But I mean, some of this oil that we now have on the market, and probably in every town in this state, whether it's legal or illegal, is out there. And people get it off of the internet, they import it from overseas, they get it from wherever they can get it at today, and probably not knowing whether it's good or bad with what they get. But some people actually take this stuff. Does this law prevent, I mean, an oil is an oil, and normally thought, I'm assuming, that it's like all liniments and that stuff that you actually rub on you, but some people actually orally take it. Is that prevented under the food part of this bill or not?
Okay.
Let me start with the chairman of the committee,
Yes,
and
sir.
let him make his opening remarks as it relates to the amendments, and then we'll try to get those on so we can.
Okay. So first of all, I want to thank you, Chairman, for me and you meeting last week on this and going through it and addressing concerns that you had and addressing concerns that the committee had. You know, this was a process that didn't start at the beginning of this session. This was a process that started a year ago, and we as a team, and when I say that, Commissioner Strain, the AG's office, DA's Association, LDF, ATC, We've had several meetings all together, trying to sort all of this out, finding the best path forward. We also reached out to other states, looking at what they have done and have been successful at and what they have failed at. We think, looking across a broad spectrum of all of these states that have done it, Kentucky being one of the main ones, that the research that we've done on it and looked at it, I think we put this bill in a good place where it's comfortable. It's, I won't say it's the perfect legislation, but I can tell you, talking to other states that have looked at it, to look at how we laid it out, a lot of them are very complimentary on how it's laid out and how well regulated it's going to be. With that, I think the amendments that we put on, it's definitely with USDA and with FDA approval. I think the commissioner had weighed in on those issues. I think those are standards that are being looked at by them, that they asked us to take a look at and not include it. Some states did include these things in their bill without referring to FDA. I think we took all considerations and we have it where they're comfortable and where I think we are comfortable. So, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Mike Strain, Louisiana Commissioner of Ag and Forestry. First of all, I'd like to publicly thank Representative Scheck Snyder and his staff. He has spent many hours on this. We've been working on this for months.
Great staff.
Beginning, very good. A lot of work, and also all the other agencies that participated to bring everybody to the table. And when you look at what we are doing, we have to devise a plan and a program within the boundaries of the 2018 Farm Bill, and it's very specific. The 2018 Farm Bill lays out basic parameters where it says the Commissioner of Agriculture shall put forth a program, and that program has to be within the boundaries of the Farm Bill and the rules of the USDA. Now, we do have good news. As of yesterday, and I was on a phone call with the USDA yesterday, that we hope by the fourth quarter of this year, they will have a tentative copy of their rules in place, tentative copy. And they're going to try to expedite it to where it will go into the effect early in the first quarter of next year. The whole idea is to try to expedite this where it would be possible to have production in the year 2020. Now, the federal Farm Bill does not legalize hemp across America. It says it makes an exception to the Controlled Substance Act, the CSA, federally for hemp products grown pursuant to the 2018 Farm Bill. Now, that being said, there is a statement from the DEA with the FDA saying that hemp seed oil and the sterilized hemp seed extracts, right, they have separated that and other things from the federal CSA, Controlled Substance Act. So that certain hemp seed oil has little to no cannabinoids in it. It is an oil. And the other products that they have legalized do not really have high CBDs in them. So basically, across America, any CBD that you have, with limited exceptions, is not federally legal. It is legal in some states, but not federally. Therefore, the preemption is whether or not you can bring across state lines or get seeds or whatever. And so when you look at this, and also to the exception of food, the FDA has said that you cannot use any of these cannabinoids in food. They have not approved that yet. They are working on that. But and as you know, they went into food establishments in many of the major cities to stop that practice from occurring. Also, any type of CBD product that has a medical claim must go through the FDA process. Now, the exception here would be in the medical marijuana program. But this is very tightly done under the rigors of the FDA, the DEA, and the USDA. Now, what the federal law says is that we must develop a program that will be pursuant and within the boundaries of their program. And there's some very specific things there. We must, and I have to make reports back to the USDA. We have to register every farm. We have to count for all the acres. We have to count for the crop. We have to randomly and annually inspect the crop And we must have a mechanism in place approved by the USDA for destruction of any plant with over 0.3% THC. It also says that within 2 weeks of harvest, we must test all crops for that. And those procedures have to be in place, and that will be incorporated into that. And so there are some specifics. So our plan is, once we have this allowed in the state, and that's the first step, it must be allowable in the state because the USDA will not, their law is not permissible if we do not permit it. So what we're doing here, we're making an exception to our Controlled Substance Act for hemp as defined as grown under this program. And then we have to submit a plan. Now, we're going to submit a plan as quickly as this is passed. We will probably have it, we intend to submit it very fast based on what other states have passed. Now, you do have a caveat where that plan has got to be approved, okay, and that's fine. Now, but we're going to be submitting this plan in advance of the USDA rules, so just bear that in mind. They have 60 days once they accept our plan, and they said they're not going to look at any plans until they have promulgated their rules. But once they look at the state plans, they have 60 days to accept or reject. Now, if they reject it, we're going to have to correct it, come back to you to correct the objection, and send it to them, because the whole goal is we want to have this approved prior to January 1 or when the federal law takes effect. And so, but when you look at it, there are layers. And you're right, Mr. Fannin, I've never seen a crop with this many layers of rules, but this is the only way that it can move forward under federal law, is to have the same set of rules in state law. And there are specific things that we must do. And so, we're going to work with everyone to try to make this occur. And what we're advising our farmers is that, let's take it one step at a time, right? And the biggest issue, first of all, is to get quality seed, proper germination, and proper seed, hemp seed. That's a big deal, right? That's a big deal to get the hemp seed, because everyone across the United States, as of next growing season, is going to be wanting to plant some form of hemp. There are probably less than 350 to 400,000 acres of hemp grown in the world today.
We got a question from Senator Reiser.
Yes, sir.
Whichever would you like to answer, but walk me back from the U.S. Farm Bill originated, who authored, who originated. And so, Representative Shea Snyder, Mr. Chairman, could you start me back with that?
On
the U.S. Farm Bill, with this legislation was included inside the U.S. Farm Bill. I think that's a pretty big move that originated with that.
Yes.
I assume all of our delegation voted for this. Was anyone that voted in opposition?
All of our delegation voted for it except for Senator Kennedy. Okay. His exception was not that he was against the hemp, but it had too many substances in there to give out that was in the Farm Bill.
The entire Farm Bill.
The whole Farm Bill.
He voted against the Farm Bill, so you can't say specified on that. Who was the author of the bill?
Of the Farm Bill?
That author that put in, was McConnell, is that right? Or
yes.
That would be the chairman.
Chairman Mitch McConnell.
Chairman Mitch McConnell. Yeah, that's right.
And Commissioner, when you say trace is, I'm going to vote for the bill. So, but I want some clarity on it.
What do you mean by trace? I'm sorry.
Trace is the trace element is 0.03, correct? And that's your limitation.
The THC.
The THC. And you can find trace elements in water of stuff. So that's
it's
not
specific. It's 0.3.
0.3?
Let me make sure that's correct.
I thought you said 0.0.
0.03.
0.03.
Yes, 0.03 is my understanding.
Make sure what
not
it says.
0.3, but 0.03.
0.03. Yes, that's correct.
I had LSU put this together just to demonstrate it, and I used it on the house side just to
0.3. That's
there's three white beans in this jar.
Yes.
That would represent your 0.3. The best thing when people ask me, that's right. When I tell people to turn this jar and try to find it, it's very, very small, and very seldom will you see that white bean, any of them three white beans in that jar.
All right.
So it's small.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But the importance, I think, that's fine. I don't think anybody worries about 0.03.
I agree.
What they worry about is, and we closed that gap, what we worried about, my concern was that bring it in from somewhere else and mix it all up in a container. You don't know, it might have 7% of THC or whatever the...
And I think what we worked on as far as with LDH, having the labeling and having the QR code on there would say, okay, right? And let me take a step back if that's okay. You look at what we have in place right now. We have certain areas in our departments that have, and I say departments in our state, that are unregulated right now. Massage parlors, whatever, Bed Bath and Beyond. I hate to put the names out there. Those types of things where Department of LDH doesn't oversee them, nor does ATC. It falls in the locals, and it puts a burden on the locals. This bill addresses that. This bill takes that gray area out where those bad players that are out there that want to do the wrong thing.
Shenanigans.
That's exactly right.
So I guess maybe use an example of beer is 5% or 3% ATC, and they're part of the regulation on that.
Exactly.
So you got a home microbrewer that's published, and so that would follow. If you had a comparison, that would probably be it.
That would probably be it. And the labeling side, it would adding the QR code. That company that wants to come in here, or that home company that's here, that QR code directs you to not only the company that made it, but also the company that tested it, the lab. It has to be a certified lab.
Certified lab.
And that will tell you exactly how much THC. If LDH looks at that and says, you're over the limit, it's not good, or ATC goes into a store, they see one and they hit the QR code and test it, and it doesn't come back with anything, then it's illegal. It comes off the shelf.
All right, so you mentioned Kentucky.
Yes,
so
sir.
Walk me through, do you have any knowledge on Kentucky and how that market's performing?
I can
or any issues that's similar to they might have had that's been concerns addressed here?
I can tell you with us reaching out to Kentucky and talking to them on their programs. Their program started out, they were a step ahead of us. They started with a pilot program, which you could say Kentucky was kind of a sole outlier. They are the hemp experts in this. I think the commissioner would agree with that. It's as far as problems with them, they put permitting a lot higher than what we did. It kind of limits where these farmers can go and how it can be done. I think our bill, which they are actually looking at, our bill allows just about anybody who wants to become a farmer, they can try it. This opens it up. I agree with Senator Fanning on us having to regulate a commodity. I think we overregulated across the board. But I think as a whole, in order to get this program moving forward in the right direction, I think what we got from Kentucky works. I think what we put in this bill will work, and we can address any issue that comes forward with that. So.
I think.
I got one more, Commissioner. Commissioner, educate me a little bit in North Louisiana, anywhere in the state. Can they now, if this becomes enabled, can they grow a dual crop in the same calendar month?
My understanding is that in our particular climate, we should be able to grow a crop about every 110 days, and you should be able to get 2 crops in a growing season. That's what I'm being told.
If you're growing, let's say we're predominantly corn right now. Cotton's coming back. But with either one of those, would you be able to grow another crop, hemp, with that or not?
Well, I think once we determine the length of time, say if you grow your corn first, can you grow hemp second? I think some research is going to have to be necessary to determine whether or not we can do that. But I understand it grows fast, 110 days. And so the idea in the spring, if you can grow 2 crops in 110 days, you may be able to grow a late crop. You know, if you're going to go ahead and grow your corn, if you get your corn in early, you know, if you don't have wet weather, you know, where you have a delayed on your corn or your beans, you may be able to come back secondarily with this as a rotational crop after that.
What's the temperature that's affected by when it stops? Is it frost, or do you know, or we don't know that much about it yet?
Well, I would think that, you know, as it is a grass, I would think it would be hopefully, you know, maybe similar parameters to sugarcane, but realistically, I don't know. But it grows in Kentucky.
Yeah.
It grows in Kentucky, and it's cold in Kentucky, and they were looking at this as an alternative for tobacco. So they were working under the 2014 Farm Bill, which allowed for research and a pilot program, but not really commercial production. And so I've been working with Dr. Ryan Quarles, who is the commissioner in Kentucky. He's very knowledgeable on this, taking a lot of information from them.
And I'll add to that. To a lot of these states that I'm fixing to mention, they started out with a pilot program. which it gives them a step ahead. They get to do a little research along with it. But to show you for an example, Montana started in 2017 with 542 acres of crop. Today, 22,000 acres. Colorado, 9,700 acres. Today, 21,000 acres. Oregon, 3,400 acres roughly. Today, 7,800 acres. Kentucky started out with 3,000 acres. Today, they're at 6,700 acres. So looking at what they've done and looking at how it benefited their farmers, this is a crop that's not going to come in and change farming altogether. This is a, and like I showed you on your desk the other day, you had all of your pens in your pen holder. This is another pen in their pen holder. It's not something that's going to come in and take away everything else. This is something that's going to come in, and when our farmers are having a down year, they'll be able to grow a crop that it will be successful, that will help them and help their families move forward.
One more, Commissioner. So would this crop be insurable just like any soybeans or anything else? Or,
yes, sir. And that's one of the.
I say that's from a banking perspective because I'm in banking, and that's something I know. My farmers are enthusiastic about this. So, but they don't know a lot about it still.
Right. Now, when you say will it be insurable, it will be able to participate in the USDA programs. One of the things we have not worked out whether or not it will be insurable from year one. Remember, to insure a crop, you have to have a statistical average based on a number of years of that crop in that, quote, county, which for us means parish, right? So whether or not it is now it would be instantly available for the non-insured disaster program, the NAP program.
What about like a 90-10?
90-10 loan? I think they said it would be available for all of those types of programs.
Okay,
so a 90-10 loan for new and beginning, young and beginning farmers.
At least 80% of our loans are now 90-10s.
Right. So it would be able to participate in that. Right. But crop insurance, as you know, there are specific guidelines.
Mr. Chairman, I'll yield the mic back now.
Okay. Senator Fannin for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You next.
I got a lot of questions. I won't try to get to them all today. Some of this stuff you trust that it works out, and I still have concerns. But walk me through the seed process, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Who will the Ag Center or will your department grow the seeds and have the seeds available to those that produce them? How are you going to regulate the seed industry?
Okay. The hemp seed will be regulated similar to all other seed. Now, initially, finding, quote, certified seed, as you know, is going to be very difficult. Seed certification takes a number of years to where we have to, go ahead and we have to go out and certify the fields to make sure that that is a monoculture and what we're looking for. And then we get the seeds, and they have to meet certain specific standards as for quality, for germination, and also looking at whether or not the crop from the seed is exactly what we're looking for with hemp. And so, initially now, we will be trying to obtain seed either from a certified source. So some of these other states, if they are growing certified seeds, there has also been discussion by the USDA to allow the importation into the United States of certified in their country, that the seed is hemp seed. So certified seed. Now, before we have certified seed, we will look at the seed. We'll go through an approval process. We're going to try to get the best seed possible. But with the market expansion of this, that may be difficult, especially if those farms have been growing this product, not really growing it for seed. So we're going to have to, we will approve it, and we will be looking at, trying to do our best to make sure it is hemp seed, not mixed seed, but also looking to make sure that there is not an inappropriate amount of any type of contaminants, meaning other seeds, pigweed, for instance, and that sort of thing. And then now with the universities, they will, as you know, they are one of our predominant sources of seed, developing seed programs. They will be able to go ahead and start growing this and develop seed programs through their research as they normally do, and then go through that seed certification process. So our seed certification process is involved, and it's something that takes quite a bit of time, so that when you buy that certified seed, right, it's going through our seed laboratories, it's going through germination, it's been grown out, we go and we test the fields where it's being grown. So I don't think that we will be able to obtain day one certified seed across the United States. So we're going to have to make where we approve it and do our very best to approve it.
And we'll have to work with other states on getting our seed program to be exactly what we want it. Okay. I can tell you this, though. Our neighbors to the north, Canada, has a very excellent hemp program and seed program that's in place that we could learn from it and be beneficial from those.
Right. Okay. Are the different varieties, one of them that's more for fiber, that's grown for fiber, and one more for oil? Which are we regulating here? I mean, I would think that if you just growing hemp for fiber, you wouldn't need any regulations.
We're regulating all seed.
There are many different varieties.
There's
many different
thousands.
So
with specific characteristics.
How do you determine? I mean, if seeds coming from everywhere, and you can buy them on the internet, you can get them anywhere you want them.
Yes, sir.
How do you know that it's the variety that would meet this growing bill here?
Well, first of all, we're going to have to approve those seeds. We're going to make every effort to approve those seeds. We're also, and part of that is so our farmers don't buy bad seed. But secondarily is that once this crop is growing, we have to inspect it to take a look. And if we can visually tell the difference between hemp and, quote, high THC marijuana or THC marijuana, there are some differences in the plant, phenotypic differences. We also have to test it prior to harvest. That's federal law.
That's in the Farm Bill.
And so that's in the Farm Bill. And what we're going to do, we're going to use our team that we have in place now across the state, because we expect anywhere 200 plus farmers, could be 500 farmers. We don't know how many, but we're going to train up all of our personnel that's in the AES division to handle this additional responsibility, because we have to test it within 2 weeks of harvest.
Okay. This is about growing hemp in Louisiana. Tell me about all of it that's coming into the state now that won't be grown, and obviously it's not grown here. So this is about growing hemp. So how do you compete? How do you? How do you stop that's coming in here now, competing with our farmers? If our farmers grow it, how do you?
Federal law prohibits the interference in the interstate commerce of hemp. That's specifically in the Farm Bill, that we cannot stop it from coming in if it is legal in the state, nor can any other state prohibit our products from growing out of state. Now, all hemp grown in the United States will be under the same parameters, USDA parameters, all of it. So the products that will be available to come into the state will be grown under very similar parameters as the products grown in the state. But there will be, like you can sell your corn here, you can sell it in Mississippi, Arkansas, wherever. So it will have the same commerce, but we cannot, under federal law, prohibit them from bringing hemp into this state.
What our bill addresses, Senator Fanning, this bill would address the bad stick people that want to come in here and do bad business here. That's what this bill sets up to catch.
But we're importing it from China today and mixing it with the oil part that's grown in America today, and people don't know what they're getting.
That's contraband products, sir.
Oh, it is, but this bill don't address that in any way, but it's going to.
No, sir.
Well, I don't know. It's on the shelves. It's on the shelves of a lot of stores here, and you see it advertised in the newspapers on a regular basis.
It's legal federally. It's not legal in the state. Okay, and what this bill would do to address this bill, say you got a company right now that's selling to a store up the street here, or any kind of product up the street. That store, in order for them to keep selling it, one, they have to get a permit from the ATC. The other one, that product that they are buying, that product, which all companies do this with anything that come into the state, food-wise, medical-wise, they have to get a labeling certification. That labeling certification says that product coming in from Canada or China or whatever, it meets our state requirements to be legal in the state.
I hate to say you, but it's not happening today. I don't know how this bill will change it, but it's in almost every town today.
Because it's not in law right now. It's not law right now.
illegal.
Well, it would be under some of the laws that we have today. But
Well-
let's don't argue that point. I mean, this can go on and on. I'm trying to separate people that grow it here. If this bill passes and our farmers want to grow it here, it specifically talks about how it's to be labeled in this state and the regulations. But that don't mean that it can't come from China and be sitting on the same shelf. If it's grown here and it'll have one of our labels on it.
Let me.
But it won't be.
Yeah, let me interrupt you right there. If you'll look on page 5, line 13, 12, look 12 through 14. It says any CBD product that is manufactured, distributed, imported, or sold for use in Louisiana. On the amendment, it says be produced from hemp grown in accordance with a state plan approved by the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture. It talks about the registration, all of those, about labeling all the way down. We tightened that up. This is one of our amendments. We had some of the same concerns, and we feel like that we're going to be able to oversee this very closely.
Here's what's in the bill. It says any CBD product that is manufactured, distributed, imported, or sold use in Louisiana shall be produced from hemp grown in accordance with the state plan approved by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, to be registered with the department in accordance of state food and drug cosmetic laws, to be labeled in accordance with the state food and drug cosmetic laws. All labels will meet the following criteria, which I told you.
Okay. All right. And
That language, a lot of that language comes from FDA and USDA.
okay. And I guess my last question, Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we had a bill similar to this dealing with another product in the same family, and we gave you permission to regulate. And we hadn't been gone too long until people coming back want to take it from you and give it to somebody else for all kind of reasons.
Yes, sir.
That's my fear about what we're doing here today. We can do anything in this body that you get enough votes to do. And I think this is, and this is going to be my last comments until the end, I think this is using a farmer's good name across this state that's been there for a long time to put something in place that needs to be a lot more cautious about than what we hear today. So, I mean, it troubles me that we got to fingerprint our farmers. We got to do all of the things that criminals do in order to grow a crop in this state. And I'm telling you, that's not the example that I grew up trying to teach my kids or what my students when I taught them that agriculture and farming is an honorable profession, and it's something that you ought to be proud of, and it makes America strong. And for me to sit here today and have to vote on a bill that I got to be fingerprinted to grow a crop, I got to have a criminal background check to grow a crop, I'm telling you, it troubles me, and I think we're headed in the wrong direction as farmers. This bill might have been a bill that should have been in health and welfare and somewhere else, but not bringing our farmers into the picture on this bill. So I appreciate it. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Fannin,
Thank you, Senator.
those parameters are what is based in federal law. 43 states have already approved some form of hemp legislation. If we do not, our farmers will not be able to participate in this program. Those are the parameters of the federal bill. In order for us to participate, we have to follow those parameters. But the other state's going to pass this. And if we do not, then those products will come into our state. Our sister states will be growing this product, and our farmers won't have the ability to do so. Hopefully, maybe in a future farm bill, which will be the next one being written, If they choose to relax these, these rules and that sort of thing, then we can relax ours. But the only way we can participate is if we follow the federal guidelines. And I do appreciate your concerns.
Senator Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, and Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being here. My 32 years here, when a bill has to be so overly regulated and so restricted, it becomes so awkward that we spend the next 15 years tweaking it.
Yes, sir.
What comes to mind, and Commissioner, you were probably here, I can't remember, in the House, I think, when we did gaming. We overregulated it to the point that it became virtually illegal to even touch it. A lot of people went to jail because of it, because we overregulated it and demanded that we sell about 15 licenses, and that was all. And that was great. Everybody thought that was wonderful. Then people ran into the problem of selling them, and they did so in a posture that put some in jail. The next one was cannabis that I can recall, and I specifically recall what was alluded to earlier, that the bill was so awkward that even you had to go to battle. And
Very awkward.
I see that same process developing here. I just looked at one of the amendments on page 4. Commissioner means Commissioner of Alcohol and Tobacco. Not you. You're not in that. Department means the Louisiana Department of Health. Not you, but the Department of Health. If you were in that, I'd have confidence. But this is so awkward to a process when you just went through the same thing with cannabis and there were only 2 agencies involved. And not criticizing you at all. In fact, I'm proud of you for doing it.
Yes, sir.
We're sort of at a stalemate. And nobody wins. But maybe in the end it'll come out correctly. I hope it will. Knowing if you're in there, I know it will. But this just seems to me like we have just absolutely overregulated in the name of good government, and it will never work. Throw in the feds, and we've got a problem. This is going to be so burdensome on everyone, particularly those who hope to make an industry out of it, that it just won't ever work. I just can't see it.
So in the bill itself, the commissioner, his department, is over rulemaking, he's over inspections, he's over testing, he's over enforcement. He determines the civil penalties and creates the state plan which to give to the federal government for approval. He is in charge of the farming side of this product. The ATC is only in charge of making sure that our products that are within these retailers, that product is a legal product. That is their enforcement job. Department of Health and Hospitals is in charge of certifying that product to be sold here. They're going to make sure that the labeling doesn't say anything that it shouldn't say, that the federal government and Commissioner Strain's plan to his rulemaking, they're gonna say, okay, this is what your label has to say on it. That's why you have 3 of them in there. It's not because we wanted it. As far as on the farming side, there will be no more regulation as far as the farming side, other than the inspection that I think you do with a lot of other crops. He goes out and inspects. As far as registering, as far as qualifying for them, it's no more rigorous than any other than a background check.
So I think if you're looking at the separation, if they're growing hemp and it goes for fiber and we're putting it in concrete, that stays within me. If they take and processing the hemp for the oils to go into a human market for whatever reason, where they can make cosmetics or whatever, then that goes through under the inspection of health and hospitals. Then so I don't deal with that side. Health and Hospitals does that. And I think the reason, if you look at the Farm Bill, and if you look at everything here, is to separate hemp from the other hemp. If you look at cannabis sativa, hemp from marijuana. I think all of this is to say this is hemp. It's not going to be something that you can grow for recreational other use. Has these specific guidelines. And you're right. There's tremendous amount of regulation here. You're absolutely correct on that.
Well, and I appreciate that, and I'm probably going to vote for the bill to move it on. But nothing here is black and white. It's gray. And throw in some attorneys, and you've got a real problem regulating between departments. And then throw in the feds, and it's impossible. So, I challenge your premise here that everything is just right because it's never right.
No, sir. I will tell you that I am sure that as time goes forward, we will be in here, as we say, and you and I have used the word tweaking this legislation as is necessary, but I will tell you that Representative Shex and I have spent a lot of hours trying to get us there, dealing with many different agencies that may not have the same point of view on that, and so to get it here. But if we don't start, then our farmers will be at a disadvantage, and this product will be coming into the state. We also believe once we have a very large, a legal hemp market, then those illegal products, right? Then, and plus when you have proper enforcement mechanisms where you say, look, you've got to use a proper product with a label, I think that portion will go away. It will not go away completely, as you know. We will always be dealing with the contraband from whatever product that we continue to deal with.
And I trust you're right.
I hope so.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.
Francis, you want me to chair?
Okay,
We're done.
you got Potts right. Okay, Senator Peacock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I'm glad we've had this hearing. I mean, and Commissioner Strain and Representatives, if we don't pass this bill,
Yes, sir.
we have all the product, the CBD oil, coming into our state unregulated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
There is, if we remove hemp from our CSA, okay, if we
CSA, I mean,
Controlled Substance Act.
Okay.
Then you will have hemp from all other states and probably Canada too, realistically, coming into the state.
But don't we already have that coming into the state?
But those aren't legal products. See, those are not as defined by the federal law. So you will still, I mean, they're going to be grown across the United States, okay, these products, and they're going to be everywhere here. And I do believe that once all the other states adopt and they are growing the product, I don't think, the federal government is going to allow that to cross. They are going to allow that to cross state lines.
Okay. And you said how many states have passed?
I think it's 43, maybe 46 by now. Our session is late. 46?
46.
Yes, sir. Our session is later in the year, so probably 46.
46 with Texas having legislation in theirs right now. Mississippi is working on legislation for them. Georgia just passed theirs and signed it. Florida, I think, is in the process of getting theirs signed. Alabama has passed theirs.
Okay. It seems like a lot of people who've advocated for this bill, once this passes, they're going to be surprised at what they're going to get because they think it's going to be, I'm not talking about the farmers, but the people who want the CBD oil are thinking that they're going to be able to get whatever they want, wherever they want, and now there's going to be more scrutiny over what's being sold in Louisiana. Is that?
I think what'll happen, I think your good players out there, your good people that want this to have a successful business with it, they'll still be successful. Their product that they're getting in will be regulated. They will be under the right regulations to be able to move their business forward. But I think you will. I think we'll cut down on a lot of bad players that are coming in that are selling.
So what are they going to use the product for?
I mean, they can use it for tons of things. They can use it for bath products, cosmetic products. You know, one of the most interesting things that I seen with the industrial hemp on both sides, I think we get a lot of it mixed up, was there's a guy right there in Monroe, construction company. His family's still building in Monroe. He's in North Carolina. He's 80 houses behind on building hemp homes, from the studs in the wall to the sheetrock, to the paint, to the concrete. The one thing, and this is what caught my eye when he
Is
told.
this going to hurt the Louisiana timber industry?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
What this will do is, for that person who wants to build that hemp home.
What is a hemp home? Why do you want to build a house with hemp?
The hemp home is.
And you're losing me a little bit on the bill. So
I'm just showing you that there's thousands of products that can be made. That hemp home, one good thing about it is it's mold resistant. Mold will never grow on that hemp home. Insect resistant. When that guy was telling me all of this, I'm thinking, we live in South Louisiana where we have a mold problem. We have an insect problem. These are two things. The other one was that this product will not burn. That hemp home will not burn. It'll smolder, but it won't burn. That's three things that really benefit us. And the process to do this is really hard and rigorous, where we're not going to hurt our timber business. But think about the future where this product could go. Lego has come out and said in 2020, every Lego that they make will be made from hemp. Every Lego from their hemp products. That's amazing that a company like Lego, who is as big as they are, is saying by 2020, every product we sell will be made from hemp. That's amazing. And I think the future for our farmers, I agree with you. I think we're going to have a lot of people that come in and they're going to come to Commissioner Strain. They're going to get that license to go farm it, and it's going to be a lot tougher than what they planned on. But I think our good farmers out there that know that this is something new, it's going to be labor intensive, they're willing to make that investment to have that tool in their box and be able to use it when they need it.
So, on this bill, when it started, you didn't have CBD oil in it when it began.
I did not.
Why did you leave that out from the initial and amend it on the floor? I mean, you said there was a lot of study in this bill through the process. You were working on this for a year. Was that planned through the whole thing?
No, it was actually unplanned. And what had happened was, when we had started out the bill, I had met with a lot of the members on the floor. A lot of them were kind of 50-50. So for us to move a bill to be able to make it work, we said, you know what, we'll strictly do it without the CBD in it. A lot of them had concern about the CBD. But as we moved and as we got more educated on what we were exactly doing, the floor, their people started to understand that, hey, look, this isn't as bad as we're making it out to be. When the federal farm bill came down and said that it can not have any more THC in it than 0.3, and looking at what's out there, they were comfortable with it. They actually wanted it in the bill. That's why we amended it on the floor to move it.
Okay. Going out to LSU, one of the chemists out there said hemp under stress, the THC do rise.
That's correct.
Yes.
My understanding.
Okay. So when that happens, you go out and you burn a field. I don't know if it'll burn now. I mean, but
the raw part will burn.
Yes, sir. What we are charged with is to do random and routine testing. Also, we have to test the product within 2 weeks of harvest. That's a caveat.
That's going to be a huge, if everybody's harvesting, where are you going to get the manpower to go out there and test?
We're going to use our existing team. We're going to cross-train everyone. So at the agencies, under this particular division, Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, and this is the team that does all of your horticulture work. They do your inspections now in your nurseries, whatever. They will be additionally trained to do that. So we're going to have to gather those samples quickly and test them quickly. Now, we have to submit in our plan what the methodology is going to be for elimination of high THC product. So if we find some there, we find some, and generally the issue, if you harvest within 2 weeks of testing, if that THC is up, you should know. That's
Okay.
that's
And
why
if
that's
someone's
now,
harvesting and they do have marijuana in their field, they're out of business. They're out of this business, basically,
well, if
because of the 10-year.
According to the bill, they
yes, sir.
will,
Now, if they've had, but if they've had free shock or whatever, and it's above that, I mean, we're not gonna. It's not their fault that there was stress to the field
Right.
and it jumped straight up above it, but they're not gonna be able to use that product. That's pretty strict, right? That they can't use that product now. But the other part would be if there is an intentional, right, planting of high THC in the rows with the hemp. First of all, what the plant
How
scientists.
do you catch that? How do you know if it's intentional or if it's shock?
Well, what I'm being told is that that as the plant grows, you should be able to tell a difference in the plants. They look different. The traditional hemp plus the high THC quote marijuana.
Okay.
And it's just like when you go out and look at a field of rice. You know, you see some plants that look different. You know, that may be red rice or you got a problem. So if you go and say we have a field of 10 acres and we find 2 bad plants, well, that just could have been just an anomaly, a seed problem. We
Okay.
pull those plants up, right? But you go up there and every third plant is bad, right? Then we will have to destroy the crop. And that would probably, we will work on that mechanism. I know in Kentucky, they've had to destroy fields, burn them. You know, and that's not a pleasant thing to think about or to have to do. But if it's intentional, then that's something that we are charged with doing. I also have to report to the feds what my enforcement mechanism will be. And that's not something I would look forward to, but that's something I'm charged
Hang on, I
with doing.
can't. Senator Breiser, you want me to?
Just asking, would it be insurable if they had to burn it?
If you have to, Senator Breiser wants to know if you have to burn a field, is that insurable?
I think that would be whether or not it was intentional. I think that would be, they would have to discuss that with their insurance company versus non-intentional. Non-intentional, it generally comes back whether it's an act of nature or an act of man when we're dealing with insurability. Same way as the issues we dealt with when we flooded Morganza. That was an act of man.
Okay.
So it was insurable.
In looking at the bill, and I don't know if Senator Thompson's amendments have this, but just for reference, when you say contract carrier, it means an entity that operates in intrastate commerce.
Intra.
That's
Yeah.
inside. Does that mean we can't ship this across state lines?
No, sir, it does not. That means if you're the farmer, and if you're going to move your product to the processor, right? But it also has the caveat where you may be having a contract hauler in the state. But no, sir, we cannot prohibit it from crossing state lines
So it will be able to cross state lines.
into another state that has passed this legislation and has a plan, or crossing that state to a final destination state that has passed a plan. So in other words, a truck, if we don't pass this, could come through Louisiana with product. They just couldn't stop and unload it on the interstate system.
Okay. When I looked at and get into the issues of what is cannabis sativa L, sativa L.
Sativa L.
When the USDA says it is marijuana from their website, it is marijuana. This is
Well, what the Farm Bill does, it makes an exception to the Federal Controlled Substance Act for cannabis sativa of less than 0.3% THC that is grown under this program. That's how it is. That's how the federal government dealt with this.
okay. So it is marijuana, but it's
still
just-
cannabis sativa. It's just a different
it's just a
variety of the
different.
same plant.
the best way that I was told by a federal organization that said you're looking at and you compare it to, say, canine family. The canine family covers a tremendous amount of canines. You got the wolf on one side, but then you got the chihuahua over here on the other side. Hemp is the chihuahua.
Okay. Okay.
Don't tell my Rottweiler.
And Commissioner Strain, you feel like with this amendment, you'll be able to go anywhere you need to go?
Yes. Yes, we did look at that.
Because that was something that I know with the House amendment said you had to have probable cause. You don't believe that?
That would violate the federal parameters.
Yeah.
The federal parameters says I must randomly and annually, randomly and annually. Basically, I have to have full authority to inspect any field anytime.
Would our law enforcement have that ability too?
Law enforcement, yes, but okay, let me clarify that. If there's a field that is licensed, right?
Okay.
Then it falls under my jurisdiction. Law enforcement would only be able to do that with probable cause if it's licensed.
If it's licensed.
If it's licensed. If it is non-licensed, then I don't have any jurisdictional authority there, and that's strictly law enforcement.
How are you going to distinguish between licensed and non-licensed?
Because
I mean, is there going to be a sign out there, like the tree farm sign, to say this is a license?
We have to register. They have to register with the acreage and exactly by GPS where it's at. That'll be kept in a database.
Okay.
How many acres, where it's at, the parameters of the field, all of that has to be so that we can work with law enforcement if they're looking at non-licensed acres.
In looking at the background check for the crimes, if you have a misdemeanor within the past 2 years, you're not going to be. Does that mean you're not going to be able to work for a farmer who does this?
No, you'll still be able to work. What that would do is prohibit you from purchasing or buying a license that would permit you to get into that business.
So the owner of the farmer will be able to do it, but the employees of the farmer might.
So let's say Shake Snyder Farms he's going to grow hemp. He gets a license and he's hiring his people. It's left up to him, just like any other business that says, look, I'm gonna do a background check on each one of my people, and I'm gonna see exactly what their background is. That's incumbent upon me. If I see that so and so doesn't clear the background check, then so be it. But if I see one where it's a misdemeanor and something that he done in college that he got caught up maybe with the wrong crowd and he hadn't done anything since, well then I'm gonna take that chance on that guy to work on that farm.
Okay, but if someone's been convicted of a felony in the past 10 years, that farmer's going to have to make a decision whether to keep that person or not do this.
That's right. He's rolling the dice.
Because anybody in
it doesn't prohibit the farmer.
No.
But the farmer, you're
talking about
responsible for whoever
I'm
works
talking
for
about
you.
the operation of a farm. I mean, you've got the farmer who owns the land, who's doing this, but has a team out there who is working for him.
That's right. He'll be taking a chance if he hires that guy that is convicted of a felony with a drug charge.
But they could hire someone who's convicted.
They could.
That's correct.
There's nothing in this bill preventing them from.
No, but that would be left upon him. The bad part with that is if something was to happen and it was something that farmer knew about, then that farmer would lose his right to have a license.
Yes, sir. And the prohibition for a felony, that's in the federal law.
Yes.
It's
Okay. And maybe staff can say this. On page 9 on the top, on line 2, and I don't know if the amendment's got this covered, where if it exceeds, it says the department may detain, seize, or embargo the crop.
I'm sorry, where's that, sir?
I'm on the bill, but I want to see if the amendment takes care of it.
The amendment adds
Destroy.
to
So
that list. That's in the amendment.
So it's not just that the commissioner may decide not to do it. You're going to have to do it.
Right.
I have to destroy it.
Okay.
So if it's high THC, I have to destroy it.
Okay. And I would join with Senator Fannin and Senator Smith and Senator Thompson. I've got to, this is a tough one to vote for.
Yes, sir.
But I do see the logic of saying how many other states have done this, and what if we don't do this, you're still going to have this product in the state of Louisiana, and consumers and it's not going to be as regulated,
Exactly.
controlled. With that, if this did not fail, if this bill failed today, where would we be? Our farmers wouldn't be able to grow this.
That's correct.
We'd still have the product in Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
Interstate Commerce Clause.
And the Interstate Commerce Clause. Yes, sir, I do think so. Because it would be since there will not be a prohibition against hemp products in a strict prohibition, then the federal law would allow the importation into the state territory. You can't stop it from coming through, right? And I do think it would also be here, yes. Yes.
Even though some states have the ability to prevent alcohol from being sold in certain states, they cannot prevent hemp from being sold in their state?
Yes, sir, you can. You can. Because also the federal law says nothing shall preempt a state from having you could prohibit it if you chose. Yes, sir, you
So
could.
we could, if we wanted to stop CBD oil from being sold in Louisiana, there's nothing stopping us from doing that.
I believe you're correct. That's what I think you're correct. I think so.
Okay.
Under the federal law.
Okay.
And this helps us regulate it, which a lot of other states doesn't have this type of regulation on any of their hemp products. They allow it to come in pretty much freely. We chose to do it this way, sitting down with everybody at the table, state police, everybody, and this was the way to be able to control it and to take the burden off of our local sheriff's office and police departments, where those gray areas that wasn't covered before, they were having to cover it, and they were having to get more manpower, which they didn't have enough to start with. This helps them cover those areas and regulate it better.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This says the department may determine.
As you have the same conclusion. Senator Lund.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, like Senator Fannin, have had a long history of agriculture. Many generations of my people have made their living in agriculture. And one of the things that we haven't talked about is the economics. Now, this whole hemp deal and the growing of this crop may go the way of the ostrich eventually, but it could also be a potential boom. Listen, I'm very blessed. I'm in the sugar industry, and right now we're profitable, but I've been to where we didn't get but half the price that we got in sugar not that many years ago. I also have had to quit growing soybeans and wheat because they have become unprofitable in South Louisiana, particularly fighting the weather. The idea that we have a chance to get another crop to be profitable in the state of Louisiana and giving the farm community another chance to make a living and stay on the farm and make something profitable in the rural communities that a lot of us live in is very interesting to me, particularly when I believe that this product is going to come into this state anyway, unregulated. Why wouldn't we give our farmers in the state of Louisiana the opportunity to have another profitable crop? Listen, it's going to go the way of the other commodities. Soybeans the acreage of soybeans are going down dramatically because the profitability is not there. If we were able to take some acreage out and have other commodities like this to be grown, then it may affect and actually bring up the price of the other commodities like soybeans. Now look, I'm not going to get into the whole tariff thing and why soybeans have taken a nosedive, but the facts are there are a lot of farmers out there in Louisiana who are hurting right now. They're just trying to make their payments, they're trying to make a living, they're trying to feed their families. So, Commissioner Strain, I'd like you to talk about a little bit about the economics of what's going on in the farm community today with the low commodity prices that we have.
Yes, sir.
And maybe at the end of that, work in what the potential of having another crop could be and what that could mean to the rural community in the state of Louisiana.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Senator. And as you are quite well aware, for the last 2 years, with low commodity prices as well as weather issues, we have struggled. Specifically, most in the soybean industries and the other row crops, also looking at rice, the low value in rice. And it's caused a tremendous amount of strain in our farming communities as well as with our bankers. Our bankers are very concerned, and we are continuously look for other commodities. We do hope that we're going to have a good growing season this year. We have some tremendous news that came out on Friday and Saturday, and I was in contact with Washington, where the parameters with Canada and Mexico and Japan have now changed. for the better. So hopefully that will help us. And so when you look at the issues, with our soybeans and our corn, specifically looking at the current tariffs we have and the situation with China. China's our largest purchaser of soybeans, purchaser of soybeans, and that still is weighing down. Our soybean prices right now are in the 850s. They're very low. Corn is below 340 to 350. It's very low. If you look at our cotton and that sort of thing. So we are looking for alternatives. And if we look at what this product can be used for, hemp is one of the oldest products in the United States. It predates the Revolutionary War. In the 1700s, we grew hemp here for many different products, for fiber, for rope, for many different uses for paper products. It currently can be used in cosmetics, textiles, clothing, furniture, ropes, canvas, plastics, fuels, hemp seed oil-based biodiesel, hemp stalk ethanol, hemp-based graphene in supercapacitors, medical devices, and solar panels. There are hemp dietary products, textiles, fabrics, apparels, shoes, home furnishings, carpeting, canvas rope, netting, hemp plastics, automotive and machine bodies. As we know, Toyota and other companies use that as a substitute for fiberglass, hemp fiber-based graphene, paper products, nonwoven textiles, mulch and animal bedding, chemical absorbent, boiler fuel. Big use is in hempcrete. It's an insulation and fiber boards and used to make concrete. If you look in 2017, and this is based on the Hemp Business Journal estimates, 2017, $820 million U.S. hemp-based products, and what I've been seeing today, it's going to be over $1 billion in 2018, currently being sold in the United States.
And of that $1 billion industry, how much does Louisiana have?
None. Zero.
And I can tell you, Kentucky, reaching out to them and talking to them and a local impact. Kentucky struggles with job growth lots of times. One processor in the state set up house there. Just that one processor alone created 271 jobs for that one processing facility for hemp. 271 jobs. That's tremendous for this product. Most of the businesses that have gotten in it in a one year sale, 20 to 40% increase in their percentage in growing forward. That is huge.
And again, according to the Cypress Hemp Company, this is information they provided, hemp grain and fiber farmers, $250 to $1,000 profit per acre. Hemp-derived CBDs can be in excess of $2,500 per acre.
$2,500 an acre.
Per acre. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the numbers are astonishing and very interesting, and I really don't know how we don't try to get this commodity. I mean, look, I have the same concerns a lot of my colleagues have, but I think most of those concerns you've addressed. FDA approval for certain parts of the products, the resurgence, from what I'm understanding, of hemp paper, which has been renowned for many years as the highest quality paper that can be made. Remind me again, what kind of paper was the Constitution written on?
Hemp. Yeah. And I can tell you, Senator, traveling the state from the north to the south, east and west, I haven't met a cotton farmer, a rice farmer, soybean farmer, sugarcane farmer, citrus farmer, you pick it, that said, I don't want to at least try it. I want to have this tool in my box.
Yeah.
Not one.
I would like to go on record. I will probably never grow it in my tenure. Because we've been very blessed with the sugar industry and the sugar milling that we do in my area. I probably will never try this product. So it's not from a selfish standpoint that I'm asking these questions. I'm asking them because I live in rural Louisiana and I know what impact a $1 billion commodity could potentially have. We like living in the country.
Yes.
And anything that we can do to help the farmers and the rural communities, I think we ought to at least take a look at. Thank y'all for bringing this bill, and thank y'all for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lyon. Okay, what we're going to do now, I'm going to offer up the amendments. We've talked about them. I read you a statement about why we had the amendments. They are tight. I didn't feel comfortable at all in the beginning. I feel comfortable now. I thank you, Representative Schneider, for your hard work and your staff. And our staff's worked hard to make this protect the citizens, as I said, the children from bad outcomes. It has an economic value in other places. We need to benefit from that. So those amendments, if they stay on the bill, I'll wave the flag with it as it goes through the process. You pass that bill, 102 for, no against.
No against.
Without these good amendments. So hopefully you'll be able to
Maybe I'll get the other three, right?
Yeah. But I'm going to offer the amendments as someone, and I'll recognize Senator Reiser.
Move adoption.
All right. Is it anyone opposed to the amendments that we've discussed the whole time? No objection to the amendments. Those amendments will be adopted. Reported favorably. Wait. The amendments. All right, now we're on the bill. We've discussed the bill the whole time, and I'm not worried about too much the committee, but I worry about all these cards I've gotten. We'd be here till 4 o'clock. Somebody would be here at 4 o'clock this afternoon. But do you want me to, if you feel like you must talk, I'm going to allow you 3 minutes. But if you just want me to randomly pull a few out of here and let them speak, I don't know really how to do this. But I'm going to, the family form is, these are all for it. Farm Bureau, a number of people that we recognize that's going to be for the bill. But if you feel like you must speak, raise your hand, and I'm going to give you 3 minutes. You sure you want to talk? Okay. We ought to have a farmer. What about that boy that's, let me see, Roy McIntyre, Brian Barham, are they in here? One of y'all decide or come up here together and you get a minute and a half. All right, let's go. Come to the table, please, and give your name, who you represent.
He raised his hand first.
Uh-huh.
That gentleman raised his hand first.
All right, please sit. Give us your name, and remember, 3 minutes. I'm watching the clock.
I'm fine. Peter Williams, representing the Louisiana black farmers and families in the rural communities. I see I just got somebody. You joined the group?
I'm just here to speak.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm for the bill, but I'll be remiss if it would be some things that I don't bring to light. It's not a secret how so many farmers and so many rural families, socially disadvantaged farmers, as identified by USDA. I've been a farm advocate for over 35 years, working with USDA, dealing with civil rights and barriers. As much trust that you have in the commissioner for his wherewithal and his fairness, it's nothing against him, but we don't have the inclusion and the programs in place to make sure that everybody participate in these programs fairly. From Ovalls Parish, Calcasieu Parish, Beauregard, Vernon, Rapides, all the areas that you all service, we have over 20,000 acres of dormant land that's no longer in production or being used by socially disadvantaged farmers, primarily black farmers, women, and disabled veterans. The programs that we talk about from USDA have a mechanism to include these socially disadvantaged targets. Unfortunately, here in Louisiana, at the State Department of Agriculture and Forestry, We have no small program, no minority outreach. We don't even have a cubicle to outreach to those farmers to give them information on this particular bill and opportunity. Not coming to bash anyone, but if we're going to go forward with anything with a new commodity that's going to help all the rural areas that you guys serve on and this whole state, FFA hit it on the head. Inclusion. If we take a page from their book, Louisiana had the best diverse organization this year. I think reality needs to set in. Most of the parishes you serve, we have black kids walking the street, families walking the street, but we have land that's available for this hemp. And all I'm asking this committee to do, even with the felons, prison reform, they walk, they cut the grass, they clean, they gonna come out, they need jobs. And I'm here to stand in the gap for those families that are being excluded because of the barriers that's in place in agriculture in Louisiana. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I would take issue with the Department of Ag because I've passed many bills that we always include all farmers, but we'll continue to try to do much better, and we'll look into those. And if you would make a note to Commissioner Strain and any of us that are legislators, but I just wanted to let you know to take issue with those comments. Next, either one of you guys.
I'll take 1 minute. You have two.
Right. Where are you from?
I'm from Delhi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You might have seen me around. I'm a farmer from Franklin Parish, Louisiana. I also sit on the Parish Farm Bureau Board, and it's my pleasure to serve on the State Farm Bureau Board. And I want to thank y'all for considering this bill because it is another tool, as has been said. I would like to say a couple of things. We've heard some negative things about this, but you know this country, when it was discovered by Christopher Columbus, his sails were made out of hemp. So we've been doing hemp for a long time. My wife is a pharmacist, and she's one of the few pharmacists I know that's anti-drug, and she is a proponent of CBD oil. If it is refined correctly, it has shown great promise, not only for epileptic seizures, but for joint problems in older people. We could all, Francis, you and I could throw away our hurricanes if we, used it properly. Right. It's also a legume builder, and when it's exhausted and everything has been done to it, everything's been extracted from it, you can pelletize it. It's 12 to 14% protein. You can feed it to cattle. It inhales carbon dioxide. It loves it. It's better than an oak tree. I mean, it's like 2 times as much. So it's environmentally good. It's one of the best. It has an omega-3 to omega-6 content that's almost perfect as far as food is concerned. So thank you for considering this for our young farmers. And as I told Francis earlier, we need something for our young farmers because I'm one of the younger farmers in our area, and I'm old. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Next, Brian Barm.
Yes, sir.
Now, you might as well tell these folks who you kin to up in that area.
Well, everybody that from Oak Ridge is pretty, all the bars.
That's where all my family came from.
Right.
Y'all farm right next, but y'all were rich.
And they still are.
Yeah. Thank you.
Not with the commodity prices the way they've been here recently. So I grow cotton, corn, soybeans, and sweet potatoes in Morehouse Parish, and I just think this would be a good alternative for some of those acres for myself as well as other farmers in the state. I have friends in Kentucky that have been doing this for 3 years, and she has told me to be the first in line for a permit when they become available. And she's going from 100 acres to hopefully 1,000 up there, so it is working. One concern with the THC getting too high, I asked her that question. It has not been a concern for them as long as they get the seed from the right source. That's a big part of it. She said that they have not had a problem in 3 years with the THC going over the 0.3%. As far as anything else, I think that the cost, the numbers that Commissioner Strain was mentioning, I'm finding the same things as far as the cost and the income per acre is. I think his range was $500 to $2,500. I'd love something for $500 an acre to come in as an option.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are good comments. Appreciate y'all coming all the way here to discuss this bill. Anybody else want to speak? All right, I'm going to take two more, and if somebody just feels like, hey, I'm going to let maybe one or two more talk. Yes, ma'am. But you remember you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yes, sir. First, I want to thank you.
You're a veteran.
Yes, sir.
You get 3.5 minutes.
I did 25 years. Can I get an extra 30 seconds?
No.
All right, okay.
That's
first
all the latitude I'm going to go loud today.
I'm going to say thank you. Thank you for this bill. I'm a proud veteran. Many years.
Give us your name so we'll have it
My
for
name
the
is
record.
Jerry Forstatter, and I live in Marrero, and I'm a transplant from New York City. All right. Let me put my eyes on here a second. I'm here today to ask, well, to support the 491, but you're already doing that, to make CBD available to people like me who suffer from chronic pain and other ailments. I served my country during the war in Vietnam. For years since my service, I have suffered from a disease called spina bifida occulta, which causes me intense back pain and reduces my mobility and ability to enjoy my daily life. I've had many procedures, including injections in my back, radio wave treatments, and physical therapy. And I've even had a device implanted in my hip to block the pain. So far, none of my treatments have worked. I refuse to take addictive opiate pills. I've seen the damage they can do. A friend of mine called me up and he said, I want you to try something. He gave me a bottle of CBD oil. I tried it for 30 days, and I tried it for another 30 days. Let me tell you that I have no more pain in my back. I can still function and do things that I couldn't do before. One of them, if you see the way I walk, I'm hunched over. 12 years of pain, of chronic pain, has caused me to hunch over. 2 months is not going to straighten it out. But it's relieved my pain. I don't have to worry about pain. I can do things, all because of CBD oil. And I've been taking it for 60 days. I'm going to tell you, it's safe. There's no high. The THC, like they said, is 0.03, which is nothing if you have to go to take a test. And I am very happy with the oil, and I'm so glad that everybody sees that it can help people. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you for your past service, and thank you for what you're doing today.
Thank you, sir.
I hope you stay fit.
Thank you.
We might need you later. Yes, ma'am. You're next. 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon or good morning to the committee. First, I want to thank Commissioner of Agriculture for his tenacity and for his the research he's done to make sure that we have the opportunity for Louisiana farmers. I'd also like to recognize Representative Scheck-Snader for his vision as well. My name is Cheryl Murray Powell. I'm a cannabis and agricultural attorney. I've been in the space for about 4 years, specific to hemp and CBD. I'm on the Hemp Feed Coalition. I'm on the U.S. Hemp Builders Association on their board as well. I'm part of the University of Florida's Hemp Pilot Program, their advisory board. I'm part of the Pennsylvania Hemp Pilot as well as the South Carolina Hemp Pilot, and I speak all over the world with regards to hemp and CBD legalization. I think what you have done here in the state of Louisiana with this bill is extremely responsible. I think the the farmers will thank you for it. Your citizens will thank you for it. I represent Sunflora. They're a CBD company. They have over 300 stores across the country, including having a presence in Louisiana. Our owners take great pride in the fact that as Louisiana residents and citizens, they can bring this type of relief to veterans and other patients. We are focused on high quality practices. We've been a self-regulated industry for a number of years, since the Farm Bill of 2014, and we, just like you, are concerned about bad actors. That's why we are encouraged by the direction of this bill and the vision that you've had. We are asking that you pass this bill, and we're looking forward to a time when there will be less restrictions as far as restrictions with registration with the Department of Health, which we don't see in any other states. Restrictions such as the registration with the Alcohol and Tobacco Committee, which we don't see in all the other states. But we understand that there is caution. We recognize that, and we want to make sure that you know that you do have support, and there are resources that have successfully implemented these types of plans across the country. So I'd like to offer up our services as resources and experts in this area. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good. Senator Lum, did you want to say something to her? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Cut it down to a minute.
No, you can go. You can go 3 minutes. And if anybody else is getting antsy and feels like they need to come say something, we'll do it.
I'm still going to give y'all the cut down version. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you all for being here and giving us the opportunity to be here as well. My name is Heather Carter. I'm a lifelong resident of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm 40 years old. I've lived here my entire life. I am part owner of a company called Mountain Pure. We sell, me and my husband and my best friend, who's a retired Army combat vet, we sell non-THC hemp-derived CBD products here in Louisiana. We are careful to always work with domestic farms. We are careful to get lab results, to be authentic in our representation, to have a business license, to file our annual updates. We pay quarterly taxes. We do everything associated with running a legitimate business here. This is our livelihood today. This has allowed me to homeschool my 10-year-old who's here with us today learning as well. Within just 2 short years, we've been able to hire 2 full-time employees, meaning we were able to give 2 young women here in Baton Rouge a job that they enjoy and that they thrive while doing. And those 2 years, we've been able to employ 7 different independent contractors, each who can now employ others as they move forward and pay taxes and support our local economy. If our tiny little local company can do that, can give almost 10 people employment in such a short time, imagine what an entire thriving industry could provide. In the past 2 years, we've been able to support around 50 local retailers in Baton Rouge and New Orleans by putting our products on their shelves. I actually had a lady tell me the other day that CBD was keeping her doors open, an amazing natural retail store out in central Louisiana. Hemp products, the sale of hemp products is projected to grow to $2.6 billion by 2022. That's in just 3 short years. And I've already told you what my little bitty company's been able to accomplish in 2 short years. We're not asking you all to take a leap of faith on something new and different that may or may not fail. We're just asking you to take a look at other conservative states that are setting laws and foundations for hemp, and they are beginning to thrive. We're just asking that you allow Louisiana to be a leader in hemp and all of its derivatives, including hemp-derived CBD. We want to be a part of this expanding market. We want to welcome hundreds of other business owners and retailers into this industry with us. We want to grow Louisiana, and we want to support the people of Louisiana. We're asking for your help to do this. Please don't leave us behind. Please don't ignore doing the next right thing for our state and for our people. And
thank you so much, and for your stand.
Thank you
for doing it right. But you need to check your watch. Okay, is it anybody else? This is the last call. Come right on up here. They're calling me for sure. All right, we're fixing to vote right now.
Okay, you gonna get us to vote?
Huh?
We're ready to vote?
Yeah, as soon as he gets through. Just says it. 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, other respected members, my name's Jack Masters, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I have with me the Florida bill. It's just passed. It's going to Governor DeSantis' desk. Also have the Georgia bill, and that has been signed into law, effective Friday, May 10th, I believe it was. Also have the National Conference on State Legislatures. They have information in this particular article on the number of states that have been looking at hemp, industrial hemp legislation. 38 states considered legislation, 6 states in 2018, including Alaska, Arizona, Kansas, Missouri, all enacted legislation in 2018. By now, y'all have all heard of the number of different products that can be derived from hemp. This right here is an article on Henry Ford's hemp car. He made an entire car out of hemp, of course, except for the engine and the rubber tires. Very interesting stuff right there. Also have, what I really want most to present to you is, this is a study provided by the LSU Ag Center. It's an economic potential of industrial hemp production in Louisiana brief. And I'm going to read just your last statement.
And let me.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I know you fought the bill. Most of us are, but Senator Long votes on here. He votes in other committees, and he's fixing to walk out. So I'd be very quickly getting bit.
Okay, sir. The Louisiana economy is expected to range, or forgive me, the Louisiana economy is estimated to range from between 10.8 million on 200 acres to as much as 226 million on 1,000 acres. Pretty significant stuff right there. I have some other things to share with you, but in the interest of time, Senator, I
thank you so much, and I'm going to entertain a motion to report House bill, unless the chairman would like to close. I think you've said enough. You've done enough today. Thank you. But
I'd like to move.
All right, Senator Lyon moves that House Bill 491 favorably with amendments. Is it any opposition to it? All right, let's call the roll. Those that are in favor vote yes. Those that are not vote no.
Senator Allah,
Yes.
Senator Fannin,
No.
Senator Reiser,
Yes.
Senator Smith, Senator Long, Senator Peacock,
You can call my name.
Senator Thompson.
Yes. That concludes our group. Now, let me, before you leave, we got a host of cards. It would take, since I talk a little slow, it'd probably take me 30 minutes to read those. I'm going to put them, all of them will be off record. They will list it. They'll be in our conversation day. I just didn't recognize you individually. We thank you for coming today, a very good audience, and we appreciate you caring about Louisiana. Thank you so much. All right, I have a motion adjourned. Senator Fannin.